Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, of whom more in a bit. Pimlico station sits on the Victoria line of the London Underground. It's known for its proximity to the Tate Britain and for being the only Victoria line station with no interchange with any other line. But did you know that there used to be another Pimlico station? Not to worry if you didn't. It was fairly basic, it was only open for 2 years, and it wasn't actually in Pimlico. This may require some explanation, and for that we're going to have to head into the South London suburbs. To Crystal Palace, in fact. The Crystal Palace was originally located in Hyde Park and was built for the Great Exhibition of 1851. The highly successful exhibition lasted 6 months, and when it was over, a number of businessmen thought there was potential in this extremely fancy greenhouse. They formed a company to have the whole thing dismantled and rebuilt in Sydenham, where they hoped it would form the centrepiece of what we'd now call an entertainment complex. Now obviously, if you're going to build an enormous entertainment complex in what you could barely even call a suburb at the time, you'd need a way to get people there. So a railway was planned. Actually, the Crystal Palace Company was firmly intertwined with a railway company. It shared 2 directors with the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. Then a third company was formed, which overlapped with both the others. This was named the West End of London and Crystal Palace Railway Company, which pretty succinctly expresses what the company aimed to do. A terminus in the West End of London was, as you might imagine, rather important to the success of the venture. The London, Brighton and South Coast were not only interested in the Crystal Palace, but in getting a foothold in the West End from which they could run other services. As it happened, the site they managed to obtain for their terminus was not in the West End, but in Battersea New Town, next to the river, staring at the other side. As the first stage of construction was underway from Crystal Palace to Wandsworth Common, those in charge discussed the possibility of going further. But they couldn't. Building railways through central London is an expensive business. They'd need a bridge over the river, and buying up land in the West End would cost a fortune. Besides, at the same time as the railway was being built, a road bridge was under construction. This was known as the Victoria Bridge, and it was the direct predecessor of the present-day Chelsea Bridge. It's not like it would be a long walk. Of course, if your station isn't actually in the West End, you can always lie about it. And that's what the company planned to do. They chose the name Pimlico after the district on the other side of the river. They also considered Sloane Street, which, again, was on the other side of the river. I don't know why they didn't go for something like Chelsea Bridge. Putney Bridge and Blackfriars Bridge were stations opposite Putney and Blackfriars respectively, but next to the bridges that led to those places. But then, I'm not a Victorian railway planner. If you like pretending to be somewhere you're not, you could use the services of this video's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Well, that's probably not the best way to introduce it. But Surfshark is a VPN with servers in over 100 countries which lets you virtually change your location while browsing the internet, so your device appears to be somewhere else. That gives you access to content unavailable in your country, lets you circumvent local censorship, and allows you to take advantage of region-specific pricing so you can get the best deals when shopping online. With its advanced encryption, it also securely hides your identity, protecting you from the sort of nosy people who like snooping on you when you're online. And unlike other commercial VPN providers, Surfshark can be used on unlimited devices, making it excellent value for money. What makes it even better value for money is the exclusive offer for viewers of this channel. Click on the link in the description below and enter the code JAGO to get up to 6 months extra free. With these savings, soon you'll be part of the Chelsea set. But first, you'll need to get there. So on with the video. The first stage of the line opened in 1856 from Crystal Palace to Wandsworth Common. But as the second stage was being built, plans were afoot, as plans so often are. Yet another company was being formed. The Victoria Station and Pimlico Railway. Like the West End of London and Crystal Palace, This railway company was backed by the LBSC and would, if successful, give them an actual terminus in the West End. And it looked very much like it was going to be successful, as it was. This was Pimlico's doom. Visions of a big fancy terminus to mirror Crystal Palace vanished in favour of something that could be put up as quickly and cheaply as possible. So it was that a basic wooden station building opened to the public on the 29th of March, 1858. It did have a pier that opened not long afterwards, allowing interchange with the many steamers that plied the Thames in those days. But it was born with the sword of Damocles hanging over its head. As the train steamed to and from Crystal Palace, a new, more substantial railway was under construction alongside. The station did have a significant claim to fame, which is that from the terminus to where the new line branched off towards the West End, it had interlocked signalling. This was a very important safety innovation that, put simply, meant that signals and points on a railway were mechanically linked so they couldn't contradict each other. So, for instance, if the points were set off the main line to a siding, the signal could not indicate that the line was clear and safe to proceed. This short section of track was the first railway in Britain to be outfitted with interlocking, but the technology would become standard. There really isn't much in terms of history, because there really isn't much history. In 1859, the terminus was fully acquired by the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. The following year, the new line was opened with a grand new terminus that you would know as Victoria. And on the 1st of October 1860, less than 3 years after opening, Pimlico station was closed down. The station would be replaced with another one nearby, known as Battersea Park, but that's another story. 2 years after closure, the LBSC would have the site cleared and a goods depot known as Battersea Wharf built on the site. This stub of viaduct is all that remains of the extensive set of sidings here. R.I.P. Pimlico Station. You were barely a station, and you weren't in Pimlico. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, please do leave a like and subscribe for more. I would like to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the railway director to my new company. I would also like to thank Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Click on the link in the description below to take advantage of their generous offer. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio.